Burgers used to be simple: hot patty, melted cheese, fresh bun, done. Now every casual chain in America wants 18 of your dollars for a signature burger, and a shocking number of them are building that burger out of frozen pucks, bagged lettuce, and sauces that arrived in a 5-gallon bucket. Today, we're putting 10 national chain burgers under the microscope. 5 of them are industrial, corporate kit burgers you should never order. And 5 of them are surprisingly legit, fresh-leaning, beef-forward, and actually worth the money. The last one is our personal favorite. Subscribe if you like watching big chains get held accountable, and let's start with the burgers that taste like they were designed in a boardroom instead of a kitchen. Applebee's is the poster child for what happens when a neighborhood bar and grill brand starts running on autopilot. This is a chain that exploded in the 80s and 90s on microwaves, margaritas, and menu covers that look like yearbooks, and then just never evolved. The classic or handcrafted cheeseburger is supposed to be the safe order: a simple beef patty, American cheese, lettuce, tomato, pickle, and some signature sauce. On paper, it's fine. On the plate, it's where you feel the machine. The patty eats like it was portioned in a factory, frozen solid, and reheated until it hits hot enough, with that uniform cafeteria texture that never quite tastes like real beef. The lettuce has that bagged salad shine. The tomato slice is pale and watery. The bun holds together because it's dense, not because it's fresh. Casual chain rankings consistently shove Applebee's to the very bottom, calling out how much of the menu is prepped off-site and reheated in-house. That's your entire story in one bite. It's not that the burger is inedible, it's that you're paying sit-down money for something that feels like it came out of a corporate kit. When the most interesting thing on the plate is the branded sauce, you know the beef has left the building. Don't order this burger. At Applebee's, the microwaves are working harder than the grill. Chili's started in 1975 as a Dallas burger joint with a tiny menu and actual grill smoke coming out the vent. Fast forward a few decades, and they're a global brand with sizzling fajita skillets, tabletop tablets, and burgers engineered by a committee. There are even locations in airports. The Big Mouth and new smash-style burgers are a perfect example of that engineering. Chili's leans into half-pound patties smashed wide on the flat top, layered with cheese, sauce, bacon, onions, and lots of sauce. Maximum surface area, maximum stimulation. But recent employees say the patties arrive as uniform, frozen pucks that get smashed with only pink or no pink as your doneness options. Burgers that look and eat like thin frozen patties under a blanket of Thousand Island-style sauce. You bite into one of these, and the first flavor is sugar and salt from the sauce. Second is bacon. And somewhere in the background is a tired beef patty that never had a chance to develop a real crust. The shredded lettuce is straight from a bag. The tomato is a cold beef steak variety, and the bun steams to death under the weight of everything on it. It's less a burger and more a delivery system for condiments. Chili's still wants you to believe this is the spiritual descendant of that original Dallas burger. What you're actually tasting is a focus-grouped, industrial smash burger built for Instagram. What's insane is they are charging you almost $20 for it. If you're craving a real burger, this isn't it. Outback was built on a fantasy. Australia via Florida, big steaks, big beers, big onion. It's the place you go when you want meat, loud energy, and bloomin' everything. You'd think a steakhouse would nail the burger, right? In reality, the bloomin' burger is what happens when you bolt a burger onto a brand built around one appetizer. You get a patty that tastes like collateral damage. In a 3-way taste test of Outback versus LongHorn versus Texas Roadhouse, Outback's burger finished dead last. Reviewers called it soft, under-seasoned, and bland compared with the other two. That's a polite way of saying this could be any generic frozen patty in a cowboy-themed dining room. You're greeted by a crown of bloomin' onion petals, a sauce that tastes suspiciously like a remix of the appetizer dip, and a patty that barely registers under all that fried dough and mayo. The lettuce and tomato are just there to keep the burger from sliding off the bun. You can't taste grill smoke. You can barely taste beef. What you do taste is brand architecture. We put our famous onion on a burger, please hashtag it. For 18 or 20 bucks, a steakhouse burger should scream beef. Outback's Bloomin' Burger whispers, Fryer Station. BJ's started in Southern California as a deep dish pizza and beer spot and slowly mutated into one of the most aggressively corporate menus in casual dining. Pizza, pastas, burgers, steaks, tacos, desserts the size of your face. When a chain tries to do everything, nothing gets the attention it deserves, and the burger feels that more than anything. The standard BJ's cheeseburger looks impressive in marketing photography. Glossy bun, tall stack, cheese cascading down the side. Then you cut into it and hit the wall. The patty has that dense, slightly spongy texture of meat that's been portioned, frozen, and cooked to one safe, boring temperature. The cheese pulls but doesn't really melt into the meat. The lettuce is all crunch and no flavor, straight from an industrial bag. There's a smear of house sauce there to keep every bite lubricated. Look at how people talk about BJ's online. Overpriced and average. Feels like frozen. This could be from any airport restaurant. None of that screams fresh ground grill-to-order burger. It screams Cisco truck, walk-in freezer, expo window. BJ's charges polished casual dining prices for a burger that eats like a test kitchen prototype. If you're here for a beer and a Pizookie, fine. But if you came for a great burger, you're a paying premium for something that tastes like it was assembled by a manual, not a cook. The Cheesecake Factory is America's cathedral of menu bloat. 100 and something items, a spiral-bound novel they call a menu, and a kitchen designed like a factory line to keep all of it moving. It's impressive as an operation. It's rough on the burger. The glam burgers, Americana, bacon, tons of fun. They sound amazing. Thick patties, multiple cheeses, piles of bacon, secret sauces. But zoom in on how burger-focused reviewers describe them. One long-form review calls out pale, flavorless lettuce and tomato, bacon laid on haphazardly, and a burger that had to be taken apart and rebuilt just to get a bite with everything. When the vegetables taste like nothing, and the bacon feels like an afterthought, you're not in chef territory, you're in assembly line territory. That's Cheesecake Factory in a nutshell. A massively systemized kitchen where some things are cooked in-house, some arrive frozen, and everything is optimized for scale. You're eating an algorithm. The burger isn't bad in the way a gas station burger is bad. It's bad in the way a committee-designed menu item is bad. Every component is fine, and somehow the sum of all those fines is still forgettable. But you are definitely paying top dollar for a frozen patty. If you're trapped at Cheesecake Factory and want something with beef, there are better plays. But the big glam burgers are exactly what this video is about. Expensive, overtopped, industrially executed burgers that make you feel like you just paid $20+ for a focus group. Now let's talk about what happens when a chain actually treats a burger like a craft, and that $18 leaves you full and satisfied. Subscribe, and let's take a bite. Texas Roadhouse is chaos in restaurant form. Country music, line dancing servers, buckets of peanuts, and steaks flying off the grill. It's not subtle, but here's the thing, they actually care about meat. In a taste test against Outback and LongHorn, Texas Roadhouse's burger came out on top for patty flavor and texture. The all-American or bacon cheeseburger isn't trying to reinvent anything. It's a thick, hand-formed patty thrown on a blazing hot grill, picking up real char and grill flavor. When you cut into it, you see an actual gradient of doneness. Not a uniform, steamed-to-death gray. The toppings are exactly what they should be. Melted cheese, tomatoes that still have color and juice, lettuce that looks like it was cut from a head, not dumped from a bag. The bun has enough structure to keep everything together without feeling like a sponge. It's not a Hillstone level composition, but it absolutely feels cooked for you in that building, that night. Yes, Texas Roadhouse has its own industrial sins, especially with those famously frozen fries. But the burger patty itself is a solid argument that steakhouse grill culture can produce a legit burger if someone's paying attention. If you walk into a big national steak chain and want a burger, this is one of the few that actually earns its spot on the menu. LongHorn started as a single roadhouse in Atlanta in the 80s, a place where cowboys and city folks could crush ribeyes under neon lights. Unlike some competitors, they've quietly kept the focus on beef rather than endless gimmicks. Their steakhouse burger benefits from that mindset. In the same Outback/LongHorn/Texas Roadhouse test, LongHorn's burger was described as clearly superior to Outback's. Better seasoning, better char, and an overall build that felt more intentional. Managers talk about a defined beef blend for the patty, which tells you it's not just whatever trim they had lying around. When you order it, you're getting a burger that actually tastes like it came off a steak grill, smoky, seared, with enough fat to stay juicy, but not so much it collapses. The toppings echo the steakhouse DNA. Sharp cheese, crisp lettuce, robust tomato, maybe grilled onions if you want them. Nothing is there just to hide the meat. Is it as refined as Hillstone? No. Does it run circles around the industrial kits on the first half of this video? Absolutely. LongHorn is proof that if a chain respects its beef program, the burger benefits. Red Robin has one job: be the burger chain that still feels like a sit-down restaurant. No drive-through, no tacos, no 40-page menu, just a ton of burgers, bottomless fries, and milkshakes. It's easy to clown on the quirky names and neon vibe, but when you zoom in on the right burgers, there's real work happening. The Southern Charm and Burn in Love builds are where Red Robin remembers who it is. The patties are substantial, thicker than fast food, thinner than a steakhouse, griddled or grilled to pick up a solid sear. Southern Charm leans sweet savory with BBQ sauce, caramelized onions, and bacon. Burn in Love goes spicy with jalapenos and chipotle mayo. Reviewers consistently rank these two at the top of the Red Robin lineup, calling them monster burgers that are incredibly filling yet still balanced. You bite in and actually taste beef, then toppings, then bun in that order. The lettuce is crisp, the tomato has some life left in it, and the bun is soft but not collapsing. Red Robin isn't grinding their own beef in the back, but they are one of the few national casual chains where burgers are the main act, not an afterthought. These builds prove that even inside a standardized system, you can still end up with a burger that feels like it was assembled by someone who knows how a burger should taste. Buffalo Wild Wings built an empire on wings, beer, and TVs. Burgers were background noise for years, something you ordered when you didn't feel like tackling 24 sauces. Then they quietly rolled out a fresh smash burger line, and burger people started paying attention. BWW's fresh beef smashed burgers get called out as one of the best chain burger programs going, with special love for the Bacon Hatch Chili Burger. The build is textbook smash excellence. 2 fresh beef patties pressed onto a hot flat top, serious browning to get that my yar reaction, American cheese melting into the craggy edges, bacon, grilled onions, roasted hatch chiles, and a creamy aioli on a challah bun. This doesn't eat like a frozen puck. It eats like a bar burger in a place that actually cares. The patties have crisp edges and a juicy interior. The chiles add real flavor, not just heat. The bun has enough richness to hold its own without swallowing the toppings. For a chain whose entire identity is wings, it's honestly wild how legit this burger can be when a location executes it properly. Is there still inconsistency from store to store? Of course, it's a national chain. But as a concept, Buffalo Wild Wings' fresh, smashed burgers are exactly the kind of surprise your audience loves. You walk into a wing bar expecting Cisco and walk out saying, that burger was actually kind of great. Hillstone, and its sibling Houston's, has quietly built a cult following among burger obsessives. You don't see them screaming about it on billboards. You hear about it from people who care about food, pulling you aside to say you have to try their cheeseburger. Hillstone's probably doesn't classify as casual dining. It's definitely a higher-tier restaurant, but this burger is a favorite of ours, and we just couldn't think of leaving it off the list. This burger starts with a serious patty, house-ground chuck, often blended with brisket, loosely packed, and seared hard enough to get a real crust while staying juicy inside. The bun isn't an afterthought, it's sized to the patty, toasted just enough to give structure without shredding the roof of your mouth. The toppings are shockingly basic: crisp lettuce, ripe tomato, pickles, American or cheddar cheese. Nothing fancy, everything tuned. Writers describe Hillstone's burger as near perfect, the kind of burger you keep thinking about days later. Another reviewer calls Hillstone the best burger chain in America. And it's not because they found some wild topping combo. It's because they didn't. They kept the burger focused on beef, bun, and just enough support. If you want to see what a $20-plus chain burger should look and taste like, this is your hero burger. Fresh ground, cooked to temp, built by a kitchen that's cooking, not reheating. Just make sure to wear a nice shirt when you go into this restaurant. They take it seriously. From frozen pucks in corporate bar and grills to house-ground burgers in steakhouse-adjacent chains, the gap between an $18 kit burger and an $18 chef-forward burger has never been bigger. If you've got your own chain burger that shocked you, good or bad, drop it in the comments. And if any of these chains want to prove me wrong, there's always room for one more burger taste test. Please subscribe to Built to Eat, and thanks for watching.